Everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of You Are the Guide. New week, new Monday, new episode. And just thank you for everybody that is listening in. Happy Eclipse Day. I know today is April the 8th. Today we are having a solar eclipse, which everybody's talking about. I think that is the one thing that we're all going to be talking about today. So I had to make an episode talking about it as well because I actually in my personal life is one of the things that me and my partner, my daughter, are continuing to have a conversation about. So today I want to share with you a few things. Number one, I want to give you some facts about the eclipse that I didn't even personally know. When I think of the eclipse, I think of it more astrologically, and I was like, okay, no, let me learn some real things about just the eclipse itself. And then I also want to talk about, and I want to share my perspective, and I would love your perspective on certain controversial things that people are talking about when it comes to the eclipse. And then lastly, I also want to share with you some things that I've been doing to use this topic about the eclipse to help my personal growth. And it's been super, super, super helpful for me. And even at the end, I will share with you some things that my partner and I kind of disagree with when it comes to the eclipse. So let's get started. Thank you for everybody that has been watching the episodes. I actually want to say a little note here. The last episode I posted about the way that the eclipse was affecting and supporting all of the rising signs. And I just want to say thank you so much for the people that went to the comments and noted where in the video each rising sign was. I meant to do that. I never got to it. And I appreciate little acts of kindness like that. I see it as an act of kindness because you took time out of your day to watch the video and note where each rising sign was and put it in the comments and make it easier for other people. So just thank you so much. If it was one of you that did that, I personally really appreciate it. And I also need to get better at posting it, posting the times because it just makes it a lot easier. So let's talk about the eclipse that it's happening today. Maybe you're watching this or listening to this way after April the 8th, and it's totally okay. Still share your perspective on it. And I always have my phone because I will forget if I don't read. So okay, we know that we have a solar eclipse going on today, April 8th of 2024. Now, the eclipse is going to be visible in parts of North America, including Mexico, United States, and Canada. Now, the path of totality, where the annular eclipse will be visible, will cross several states through the United States. But some of the big cities that is going to be crossing is cities like Dallas, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Cleveland, Ohio, and Buffalo, New York. Interesting, especially because we know that New York recently had some earthquakes. Um, Now, the eclipse is going to last on average around 4 minutes and 28 seconds. And something that I learned is that this eclipse is 2 minutes longer than the eclipse that we had that was visible in the US in 2017. So this is going to be a longer eclipse. Um, and let's see what else I wanted to share with you. Obviously, something that we know, and if you haven't already heard it enough, is that please make sure to wear the right type of eye protection before you even consider looking up and looking at the eclipse. I just want to say there was an eclipse. I don't know. I don't think it was a solar eclipse. I don't know what kind of eclipse it was, but it wasn't that long ago. It was at the end of 2023, I think. I don't remember, but actually we had a really cute experience where my girlfriend and I were getting like leaving the gym, and that day we did a Zumba class. We never go to Zumba classes. We were all like dancing. It was so fun. We always have experiences, my girlfriend and I, where we are during full moons, during eclipses, like in these random activities that are kind of like ritualistic, but in a positive way. Like that day, the type of dance that we were doing was very interesting and very like about releasing. Anyways, I'm going too far into that. It was fun. We are leaving the gym And then we noticed that it's darker outside, and we're like, I'm like, do you see that? I was even like rubbing my eyes. I'm like, it feels different. Like something's changing. And then I look to my left and I see this guy looking up and he has those glasses. And I'm like, oh my God, there's an eclipse. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And the guy, oh, and then the guy saw it and he got in his truck and he was gonna leave. And I think he saw that we kind of wanted, like we got excited, but we didn't have glasses. Or I don't know if no, maybe he was walking behind us and the three of us said like, oh, an eclipse, and he walked away. Then he looked because he had glasses, and then we were kind of bummed that we didn't, and he actually got out of his truck and gave us a pair of the eclipse glasses, and we were like, where did you get them? And he's like, at the gas station. And then we said, well, we'll buy them from you or we'll give you some money for a coffee or something. And he was like, he was super sweet. And he said something along the lines of like, no, just pass it forward, like do something nice for others at some point. Very, very random, but like he left us this very positive feeling of like, it's so good to be nice to people just because. Anyways, now we're there outside of the gym. We open the back of my girlfriend's Jeep and then we start watching it. And it was so beautiful. Um, and I don't know why I get so emotionally moved witnessing when nature or life does something that we're not used to seeing. So I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. And we stayed there for a while. And it was fun. So, anyways, I'm excited to see this one that's coming up. I have my glasses that I purchased that I'm going to use, like the ones that are recommended for you to use. And I'm looking forward to it. But remember, wear the correct ones. I was learning that many people sell you fake ones that are not, what would be the name? Like they are not um like checked, I don't know, for them to be like the ones that you need, because there's a specific level of protection. And apparently when you open them, like in the inside, it has to have a specific number, and you can Google it, and if it has that number, then it means that it's one of the ones that are recommended for you to use. So just keep that in mind, because I was apparently like, the way in how quickly it destroys your eyes is incredible. And I realized that that's one of the reasons why many parents don't let their little ones go to school, because they really don't believe that the teachers can control every single kid from not just removing the glasses and wanting to look. And it's like, I don't want to risk my kid just getting completely, going completely blind because of not having somebody there. So yes. Now those are some, that's some info regarding the eclipse when it comes to, I guess, science. That's when it's going to happen. It's something that it's not new. This is not a new event. It has happened often, or it happens often. What is kind of fun for us, I mean, I am in the US, is that we are able to see it, is that some parts of the US are going to be very, very completely dark. And that is what makes it fun. Now, let's talk a little bit about, in astrology, what the eclipse represents. So, based in astrology, solar eclipses are associated with new beginnings, changes, and revelations. Um, some astrologers believe that solar eclipses can have a significant impact on individuals based on their zodiac sign, and it's their rising sign, which I talked about it in the last videos or in the last episode. So if you want to go watch that, you can see what area of your life, based on the 12 houses of astrology, is this eclipse going to kind of lighten up, and you're going to start a new 6-month cycle in that area. And why it's unique, it's because it's happening in the sign of Aries. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it represents new beginnings, it represents initiations, it represents a whole new chapter. So this is actually very, very meaningful when it comes to astrology, and it shows you a lot. What Wherever you have Aries in whatever house you have Aries, is actually a very important house for you. You initiate things in that area. For me is creative projects. For me is enjoying doing things with the energy of a child. Like, I enjoy doing these episodes. You want to find what that is for you. Like, where do you have Aries? So go watch that video. There's a comment in on the if you're on YouTube, there's a comment where somebody actually went and put the time of where you can find your rising sign. Okay? So let's see what else I want to share here with you. Well, pretty much that's the basics. The basics is representing that new beginning in that area. So yes. Now, something that I want to talk about, since we are talking a little bit about astrology, is certain controversial things that I've seen online that people are bringing up when it comes to the eclipse. And I want to give you my perspective on it. And I doesn't mean that, of course, everybody sees things this way, but I would love to know your perspective on it. Leave it in the comments or of the video. If you're watching the video, if you're just listening, you can let me know through like social media or something like that if you would like. The first thing I talked a little bit about earlier is about that day. Well, first, many people believe that the eclipse can affect certain natural catastrophes, and that there may potentially be natural catastrophes either before or after the eclipse or on the day of the eclipse, because of some of the earthquakes that we have experienced before the eclipse. People are really saying, hey, something could actually happen. So it's controversial because we have two groups of people. The people that are like, oh my God, it makes so much sense because we know that the sun directly affects the earth. So the earth can shake because this is actually doing something big. Something's about to happen or continue to happen, either at a major scale or just at the scale that it has been happening, like what happening in New York and Taiwan, right? Because we don't experience it, it doesn't mean we don't have it doesn't happen. Sometimes we deny the reality of the horrible things that are going on in the world just because we're not living them, but they are happening. Now, other people are like, no, nothing's gonna happen. Like, you guys are so dramatic, just trying to find another story to like be promoting the end of the world. We've seen it time and time again in 2012, the Y2K and all of that. I want to know where you stand on this. If you're watching the video specifically and you are on YouTube, please leave me a comment and tell me, are you in the group of, yes, I believe something has been happening and will continue to happen, maybe because of the eclipse or just what's going on with the earth? Or are you the type of that, like, you're like, no, it's not connected at all. You guys are just trying to believe in something again, just to tap into the drama. I believe, and I think many of you know, I do believe that the eclipse may affect the things that are already happening anyway with the earth, and it may push for certain natural catastrophes to happen a little quicker. I do believe that. Which ties to the second thing. Are you somebody that, because of this, you're buying into the hype of preparing by having survival stuff at your house? I want to know if you're that type of person. So I want to share a little bit of a story about that. My mom, she's 73. She's about to turn 74 this year. She is a conspiracy theorist. I want to call her a positive conspiracy theorist, because she believes in all these conspiracies, but in some way she uses it to get like hopeful about life and get proactive. Like, it doesn't bring her down and she's like, oh my God, what's going to happen? She's like, yeah, this may happen. That's why we should be happy. That's why we should be forgiving the people around us. That's why we should be helping people. She is a Sagittarius moon, so she's naturally optimistic, I will say, but she is my source of news. Like, I don't even have to watch anything anymore. Like, my mom will call me just to give me an update. My mom will remind me if I need to, like, what I should buy to have at home. So that kind of tells you where I'm standing in here. Now, I do believe that in some way, somehow, we need to be objective. We shouldn't run into one extreme or the other. Maybe not believing that nothing No catastrophe is ever going to happen. So then I'm just gonna have the basics and only have like one toilet, one bag of toilet paper at my house, or one, I don't know, whatever, jug of water, and that's it. And hope for the best. I believe just to be prudent and sometimes just plan ahead without going to the extreme. Now, other people actually thinks that those of us that actually prepare, we are ridiculous. And I want to know where you stand with this. Do you have you been preparing for the possibility of something happening, either because of the eclipse or just because of the state of the global warming or whatever? Leave it in the comments. I want to tell you what I've been doing. And if you disagree and you think like we're a little wacky, I would love to know why. Besides the fact that obviously sometimes over preparing is clearly a reaction that's just coming out of fear. And if we are not careful, it could leave us in a loop of fear. So I'm very understanding of that, but I would love to know your perspective regardless. And I don't think either or is wrong, because I will tell you what I'm about to tell you kind of supports that other point. A lot of the things that I have are things that my mom gave me because she's been preparing for all these other things that never happened. For example, a few years back, I don't even know when, maybe before the pandemic or during the pandemic, she purchased two water resistant, fire resistant, huge containers of food that is indestructible. Like people can go to the moon with that food or something. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know. But it lasts for a long time. And it's not that much. I think it's 2 months worth. Um, and she purchased that. I would have never purchased it back then. Maybe I would have purchased it now, but back then, and she purchased it and then she gave it to me. So I have that. But an example is she purchased it and nothing ever happened and we still have it. Now, this time around, things that I've been doing is that I invested in having generator that you can charge with like solar panels. I I found that to be helpful even for camping, so you can use it for other things, but I decided to buy that. I bought a cute little radio. Like it's cute and it's you can charge it like solar and then it can charge your phone. So I purchased that. Oh my god, one time my girlfriend, my daughter and I were watching that movie that I don't remember what it's called, but it's about what happened. I think it's in Russia where the radiation exposed the whole city and everybody died and they needed iodine. And I should have checked my facts before I clicked record, but I didn't. I think it's iodine. After that movie, I went to online and I purchased some. So I have that. I do have a little bit of extra food. I have just all the basic like medications that you can have that are over the counter that you may need for like basic things like having a cold or a headache, things like that. Something very interesting that I decided to invest in, and maybe for the women out there, tell me if you've done this. I decided to buy a menstrual cup, like the reusable menstrual cups. I don't use that right now. That's not my thing to like every month to month, like to use that. But I realized, like, what would happen if I didn't? And this was when I don't know what was happening. My mom was giving me some info, and I was like, okay, I want to think long term. And I purchased one. And why I'm mentioning is because I'm adding it to this list because I purchased it for that reason. I don't use it. So I just purchased it and I decided I want to have one for myself. I want to have one for my daughter. And I want that to be something that I don't think about if for whatever reason I don't have access to go to a store every week or every month. So that's another thing that I got. And that's it. I think that's it. So I have enough things, but I don't know if that's even being prepared because I don't have like water, like a lot of water. So I should think of that. So anyways, if you are somebody like me that actually, like enjoys or believes in all of this and has been preparing, I would love to know what other things you have added or you have. So maybe I can get some ideas. So that's the other thing I wanted to share with you. That was a little controversial. What else? I think those were the main things. Just this idea that I see everybody so divided of people seeing the eclipse, like rolling their eyes, like, oh my God, you guys are so easily entertained. And then the other group of people are saying, like, hey guys, this is kind of serious. What if this initiates a whole, like, unraveling of natural disasters? Like, that's where my TikTok and my online like pages go to, like either or of those two. But now, on a more serious note, I want to share with you how I've been using this concept of the eclipse for my personal growth. I am somebody that, without wanting to, I use everything that happens in my day to day life as an inspiration for personal growth. I think in this life, that is the path that I came to walk. I am in this path of personal growth. That is what excites me. I love to learn. I love to read. I love to attend seminars. I was recently even having this conversation with my girlfriend because we have very different needs of what fills our cup. What fills her cup is being with family, being with people, being with friends. And I explained to her, I don't always get filled being with people or family or friends. That sometimes drains me. I don't consider that as something necessarily fun all of the time. She's like, well, what do you consider fun? I'm like, learning, going to a seminar, reading something about astrology or esoteric wisdom or spiritual beliefs or like things like that, having a deep conversation with somebody about how they're feeling about life, like how they learn about a tiny experience. That I could do forever. I've done forever. I do it as a hobby. I talk about it here because I'm so passionate. I studied it. I was a teacher teaching it for 10 years. Like, it's just the thing that lights me up. Even just right now talking about it, I feel everything in me going like, whoa, I love this. And it just shows that we're all different. But anyways, circling back for that purpose, anything that happens, I try to be like, what can I learn from it? So I was sitting with myself, paying attention about the part of me that was buying into all of this hype of the eclipse and going into the fear of it. And what if something happens? And I thought, let me paint my two scenarios for myself. Let's imagine that somebody would come and tell me, hey, I'm from the future. 3 months from now, nothing will be the way that it is now. Maybe it won't be super tragic, but you won't have access to electricity, let's say. You won't have access to the internet, or you won't have access to going to the store the way that you did. Maybe there's not that many things there because whatever happened, like, is preventing for the transportation to move, and there's no items at the store. So you have to live your life differently. What would you change? And what I thought, the first thing that I thought is, before I even think about anything that I want to change outside and how I do things around, besides maybe preparing, buying more food and all that, it would be how I feel. I wouldn't want to be in that situation and feel that I have nothing, that I'm out of control. Oh my God, everything has changed. I would want to feel, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I'm alive. Oh my God, I'm so grateful that we do have some water and that I have this, like, food that doesn't expire for 5 million years that my mom gave me. Like, I want to be in a state of gratitude. I'm telling you, I don't live life like that all the time, and I have to own it. I wish I did. I wish I could come here and be like, I'm always grateful. I'm not. I whine. I focus on the negative. I'm a Virgo. I know not all Virgos are like that, but many of us are. So I realized, like, if somebody can tell me in 3 months everything's gonna be different, I wish that no matter what changes, I could find gratitude. And then I'm like, oh, I could start practicing that now. Because a lot of things are happening, at least in my life right now. I don't know about you, right now in this time period of like April of 2024, where so many little inconveniences were happening. Like, life was just one thing after the other of things just not flowing. And I was like, oh my God. And I was getting so frustrated and I couldn't find gratitude. My girlfriend and I talked about this. We're like, we're so blessed. We have so many things. We are happy with our lives. We're happy where we are. Why do we still feel sometimes just dissatisfied? And of course, we arrived to the conclusion we are not choosing to see, focus on the good and feel the gratitude. So that's one thing that I said, I want to use this time to feel more grateful, or this idea of what if the world changes, what if things happen, to tap into my gratitude. I mean, nothing new. We've heard this forever. But what I've noticed is that when I feel more in a state of appreciation for what I have, I I default to being more in the moment. It's only when I'm focusing on what I don't have, what didn't go right, what I'm lacking, blah blah blah, that I'm always in the future or the past. So I was like, "Oh, gratitude is my key to be more present. And when I'm more present, I'm more resourceful." And I'm like, if something's going to happen, if shit's going to hit the fan, I want to be resourceful. Like I don't want to be in my pity party. I want to be resourceful to be able to do whatever I need to do, which I don't even know what that is. But if it was the case, I want to be resourceful. Also, I realize I am a mother. So I was like, I want to be in a place where I can be the rock for my child. Like I want, if I know that children, teenagers, we know they're not fully mentally developed, until age 21, 25. And sometimes in difficult situations, I we as parents need to be that rock, and not rock just physically, emotionally. Being reacting in a state of anger, reacting in a state of panic is not going to support anybody. Anyways, hold on. I needed to make sure I was recording. Um so that's the other thing. Being resourceful and being stable for my daughter. Then the other thing that I noticed is, what if the whole world was going to change in 3 months? So these are the last 3 months that I can enjoy the things that I'm doing. So I was like, oh, like today I'm going to a concert. I was like, I would really enjoy going to that concert. Like, what if it's the last concert I'm going to go to like that? Like, I really want to enjoy it. Like, really be present, like, really enjoy the music, really enjoy the people around me. I want to have more fun. That's what I felt. I want to enjoy the things in life that are fun, the things in life that we take for granted because they're so simple. The fact that you can go eat anything you want tonight for dinner, like whatever you would want and would be available. You're like, yeah, I want that, and enjoy it, or whatever you want to make at home, or like watching your favorite TV show with the people you love. I was like, I want to enjoy those little moments more. If this idea that everything was going to change. What if there's no longer Netflix? It's like, oh, I didn't enjoy it. I was always whining and not like enjoying when I was watching my shows. And what I'm trying to get to here is that it's almost embarrassing that I'm admitting this publicly, but I pretty much took thinking that everything that I have now, the comfort, the people, the things would have to be taken away from me to enjoy them. And it's kind of like embarrassing to accept, but the reality is that it's the truth, what I'm saying. So then I thought, what if I would do all those things? Well, what if I would be more grateful for what I have? What if I would be more present doing what I'm doing? What if I would be more stable for my daughter? What if I would be more having more fun and enjoying everything that I did so much, like if it was the last time I was going to do it? And what if everything about the world changing and things ending was a fluff and nothing happened? Everything's the same. And I realized I would lose nothing. I would still only gain from using this idea of things changing as a motivator to live life more fully. And it kind of reminded me back to astrology of the energy of Aries. Aries has two polarities when it comes to emotions. The shadow of Aries is anger, irritation, feeling. Anger is an explosive emotion. And anger is the side effect of the emotion of disappointment. When we're feeling disappointed, we eventually explode. But you know, another moment where we explode is when we're having so much fun and something is super funny and we like, we explode of joy and laughter. And I remember I learned this from a teacher and I never forgot it. He said, anger is joy without a judgment. Only when we are judging the way that things are, do we feel disappointed about them. When we are in acceptance of how things are, we are curious about those things. When we are curious, we are experiencing things in life and it's easier to find joy. So I realized that is why Aries initiates things, because it's curious and it's excited. You know, like when you start a new project, you're like, yeah, let's do it. And there's this joy in Aries. Only until we focus too much on what didn't go the way we wanted to do we go to the other polarity, and now we get angry and we're feeling disappointed and we explode. So I was like, oh, it kind of ties together with that theme of this specific eclipse. So that is how I am personally using all of these concepts to just live a better life for myself and those closest around me now. If I can really focus on being more grateful, being more present, and living life truly to the fullest with the resources that I have and being more stable for myself and those around me, I feel like I'm winning. The things could happen or things may never happen and everything will be the same, but it's fine because at least I feel that I'm taking advantage of this life, you know, which is truly all we have. Like we take for granted it's ending for all of us. I'm sorry to be so dark about that, but it's just true. It's ending for all of us. It's just how we're living that's important. Um so this kind of takes me back to today is the eclipse. And I invite you to use whatever you've been hearing about the eclipse, whatever it even means for you. Maybe you are more like a science person, you don't like astrology. That's good. What does that mean to you, the eclipse, or not the eclipse, even what's going on in life right now? And how could you use those things to support you and who you are? It doesn't have to be what I just told you. You have to find it for yourself. It's the reason why we're calling this podcast You Are the Guide, because you are the one that has to do that for you. Question it. Use that storyline of if somebody would go like that, somebody's me. If I would be like, hey, I'm from the future and I know that everything's going to be different in 3 months. So these are the last 3 months that you have with things being the way that they are now. If you want to change anything, if you want to enjoy more, go for it. And then I disappear or something like that. How would you take that? Would it mean nothing and be like, I don't care. I'm still going to live life the way I do? Or maybe your life is amazing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're already living a life that you're so proud of and so happy, which is then just amazing. Just continue to do that. But more than anything, use it hopefully to motivate you to think what can bring you more joy. Let's tap into that energy of Aries. What things in life right now could bring you more joy? Go back to the last episode and listen to what's going on with your rising sign. That is the area of life where you can really tap into your power right now. You're initiating a whole storyline there and own it. And I believe that the only thing we truly have power is over ourselves and the type of life that we're choosing to create. And that is empowering. That gives me a little bit of hope. And I get excited to think that there are people out there that no matter what's going on, are still choosing to just be the best version of themselves. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. My little poetic, what do you call them? Like breakthroughs that I've been having because of the eclipse. And I actually want to share something with you. My partner and I disagree in some of the things that have to do with the eclipse, not necessarily the eclipse, but when it comes to preparing, she's one of those people that doesn't necessarily think that you should prepare too much. She's like, first, you don't even know if anything's going to happen. So, because she doesn't like things to be like, she doesn't like, she likes simplicity. So, if there's too much of something, now you're not living a simple life. So, she's like, why are we going to have all these things? Like, maybe we're never going to use them. She also believes like something may happen. And what if whatever happens, like, what if you don't have access to those things? Like, now you didn't even use them, right? Or there may be ways of getting whatever you need when it happens. So it's very interesting because last night I was telling her, remember, the eclipse is happening. Make sure you fill the tank in your car so you have gas. And she just like rolls her eyes like, oh my God. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that because it's interesting. We have different perspectives and it's okay. So I hope you take that from this as well. And thank you once again for hearing me blabbing. Just know that sometimes I'm filming these episodes and I'm just like, I'm blabbing so much, but it's okay. It's okay for now. With that said, I hope you have an amazing, amazing day today. Happy Eclipse Day. And thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. See you next week.